Hey, everybody. How are y'all doing? Oh, man, that's soul, isn't it?
Oh, it is.
It
It
is.
is.
We got soul, baby. Hello, Trina. How are you, my dear?
Oh, so wonderful to be here and Soul Tribe and Wayne. And I just love Tuesdays.
I love them as well. I look forward to them. Let me get that going. So I do. They are my favorite day of the week,
Mine too.
and I think it's pretty cool. So,
Cody's saying yes. He's like, oh,
how is
he's
Cody?
saying
You
yes,
know,
yes. You good boy.
Cody. Well, it says we're just now connecting. So I guess
Oh,
we live, folks? Can y'all see us? I can see us.
I can see us
Yeah,
too.
I can see us too.
I think we're
Uh,
good.
all righty.
I,
So let me get over here and I think we're good to go. All right, so I've got everything done here, Trina.
yay,
And,
driving that
uh,
bus, Wayne.
yeah. It's
You're
checking
a
the
good bus
oil,
driver.
making sure we got enough gas, kicking the tires twice. So,
That's right.
welcome everybody. We just speak favor over all of us. And remember what favor means. When someone speaks favor to you, that means you're empowered to prosper. So we've always been prospering because that's what I've been speaking. But if you didn't know the definition of words, Trina, they would never know that I was speaking a hidden blessing for all of them.
Absolutely.
Isn't it true? That's why I love Julie Ann Payne.
Yeah,
She has taught us so much about the magic of words.
absolutely. Word magic.
It is word magic.
It is, and it's completely creating our world.
It is, which tells me that there are some powerful dark magicians. They ain't magicians because they ain't playing anything that I like, but
Yeah.
obviously they have taken us hostage.
I think you're right. I think
I
it's
would not
I
have
think it's the
invented this
God
reality.
I think it's the God of this world that's taken us hostage. I don't think it's creation itself, but I do think that through the creation of gods, one of
Many
the
of them too.
yes, I believe that one of those is the this is its domain is the physical realm. And yes, I do believe that it needs to stay alive through the consumption of soul.
Paraliminalist, I think, paraliminal says, I've studied NDE since 10th grade. In
Mhm.
each case, I am still looking for the most basic question. Give me a second here. Why are we in this form of reality and how does it relate to God and the spirit dimensions? Great question. I was meditating last night, practicing my larynx friction,
Mhm.
and I have a recording. So people actually, what I was doing was spot on, just being guided. But here's the question. You see, I talk to the one who gave me consciousness. It's not God.
Yeah,
God is a man made construct. There's something greater than God.
correct.
But Trina, here is the question that kind of goes right there with that question, which is a phenomenal question. So, when we think about consciousness, I'm thankful for my consciousness. It allows me to integrate into this realm, which, hey, it's a freak show, but at the same time, it's an amusement park. I
Yes.
mean, I can remember as a kid, I would never go on that tilt-a-whirl thing, that throws you up against the edge
Yep.
because, that kind of stuff back in the day would make me sick.
Yes.
And those who were enjoying the ride never do because someone always pukes. I don't know why people do that, but I digress. So the thing is, so what is the purpose of consciousness? Does the spirit exist outside of consciousness? And if so, then how is it aware of self or its surroundings?
I think spirit and soul is what gives you the ability to manifest separated in a separation of some sort. I think if you're one with the all that is, there's no separation. Everything is is all oneness. So you're like in a blissful state of just everything, but there's no identity. You're just like a bubble of pure consciousness, but there's no separation of that consciousness. So there's really no thinking going on. It's just simply being. So to think or to express or to separate from God, I think that we were fractaled out of that as a piece of consciousness. And that consciousness took on soul. And I think soul was created from solar logoses, which are suns. And I think there's multitudes of suns throughout the omniverse, multitudes. So I think through those souls, we are all connected to the great central sun or soul. And through that, we can experience some type of separation.
Do you think everybody has a soul?
No.
Then,
and I think that's why we were captured, was because they needed the soul part, because the soul part is the part that is connected to the physical realm, that still allows you to exist in a physical realm while still holding immortality.
Well, I'll counter that because, the idea that, by the way, I'm just speaking favor over everybody. We forgot to do that coming in. Be of service to others. That means you are both the one and the other. See,
that's soul and spirit to me. One is thought and one is feeling.
Well, there is a huge misconception in Christianity about the spirit and the soul, but there's passages both in the book of Genesis, and Paul writes about it in the book of Corinthians, and it's also in the book of Hebrews, that there is this separation, that we are spirit beings, but the entity that we create here is of the soul realm.
I think so.
And because it says, in fact, it says in Hebrews 4:12 that the word of God is and the Greek word in there is dynamis, which is dynamite. We get the word nuclear from, is sharper than any two-edged sword, able to separate spirit and soul. Now, there is this belief now in this is a post-Jewish belief, because Jewish tradition doesn't teach that you have a soul. Well, in the aspect that if Adam was in fact a living soul, was Adam a spirit prior to becoming a living soul?
Yeah, see, I think Adam was a living spirit, but the divine feminine breathed into him the essence of soul, and he became a living man at that point.
A living soul.
Yeah.
But that's what it writes in the book. And of course, that's been altered so many times. And, this debate goes back all the way to Aristotle in his treatise of what is the soul. And it's something that has been debated. It's come in and out of favor through. Go ahead.
You know what I always think about when I really get into about the soul is I always think about, we always hear these people that they sold their soul to the devil. See, if you could sell your soul, that means that's a part of you that you can exist with or without, but it might take away your ability to have immortality, because you would lose consciousness. You'd go back to the spirit part, which is without soul, there's no separation. You just go into.
So that gets back to the point that I made earlier, that the soul is really what we've created here.
I think so, Wayne.
And the thing is, some of us already begin to get aware of that there is most likely, and this is just my hypothesis out there, is there is a separation. Do I really want to take my soul with me where I know my spirit originally originated from? Because I don't believe a soul is eternal. Well, Wayne, I don't think it's immortal.
I don't know either, because remember when I had the dream where I cut my sleeping
out of the serpent,
that was what I said. I said, if this soul is what's keeping me bound to this false construct of illusion, I seek truth. And if to find the truth and reconnect to what is true and what is real, if it means giving you back this thing you call soul, I'll drop it like a hot cake. And boy, that was when I got the revelation of being freed from the bondage of the serpent. So something with soul is attached to the serpent and the garden. So we got soul from the serpent. Something to that. And I don't know it all yet, but I'm still trying to figure it out.
Well,
There's
there's
to this.
yeah, then there's enough teaching, esoteric teaching, that, again, really, when you think about it, if we rely on this version of us, which I call the present day, when you look in the mirror, you've created this.
Yes.
You've created the personification. You've created every aspect of it. But let's just be very honest. It's not you.
No.
The deception is that you think it's you.
When I came into this realm, I remembered existing before I came in here, and I had the body of a child. And I think that is what created this. That wise child that's existing in the higher realms before I was physical, that knew I was entering into a physical body, and I was like, oh, I don't want to do this. So I had an awareness of taking on flesh and what that meant. And this was all from, I saw myself as a child, but this child is as smart as God.
Might be, yeah. You can't enter into the gates of heaven unless you go as a child. Some real hairy media says, do you think the soul starts off like a bud and it blooms out of the flower if the necessary intentions and creativity is being exercised?
What I was shown was the father had an image of his family, of his children, of his lineage. And the first was man. He created man, which is, man is androgynous. Man is man and woman. Man is the template of the star of our physical bodies, a bipedal human form. So, which angels look like that. Lots of different aliens look like humans. The human man form is a very popular creation because it's of its function. So what I saw was that we were created in the image of God, which meant we were created as an image of a man, and that man created all these children. So it came from one primordial template of a body, and all the different variations come from that one original source man, which was a template of man. And man was the first image that came forth out of the waters from the divine feminine. So man in all actuality would be the first expression of wisdom itself birthing forth as an image, and it would be Sophia.
So the meaning of quickening, because that's the theme here, is, and this is actually probably more the metaphysical meaning of quickening, is quickening, which is taken from the aspect of birth. It's when the fetus moves into what I say it's the home for its next journey. Interesting, the male, they say, enters in on the 40th day, and the female enters in on the 90th day. But spiritually, it's defined as an inflow of divine vitality into the body, which follows the affirmation of truth. To quicken is to make alive. The quickening of the spirit in the mortal body makes it eternal and incorruptible, not subject to death or corruption. Spiritual quickening is a waking up of the whole man to the full consciousness of what he or she is in the sight of the Creator. The sense man is only half awake, going about in a dream and thinking that this life is real. The Word says that the Word of God is quick, and when it enters into a man, he stands upright on his feet, his divine understanding, and he knows and sees himself as he is. He is wide awake, alert, quick, and powerful. And then they actually give a scripture verse that says, but if the spirit of him that raised him up from the dead dwelleth in you, then he will quicken your mortal body. One last one. It's related as well to ensoulment, is the moment at which a human being gains a soul. Some religions say that a soul is newly created within a developing child, and others, especially in religion that believes in reincarnation, that the soul is pre-existing and added at a particular stage of development. In the time of Aristotle, it was widely believed that the human soul entered the forming body at 40 days, male embryos, and 90 days for the female embryos. And the quickening was an indication of the presence of a soul. Other religious views are that ensoulment happens at the moment of conception, or when the child takes the first breath after being born, i.e., the breath of God, at the formation of the nervous system and brain, at the first brain activity, heartbeat, etc., or when the fetus is able to survive independently of the uterus. Isn't that interesting?
It's very interesting, and I see it also even bigger than that. Like, somehow I was seeing, when you were explaining that, I was seeing how certain powerful entities can actually harness and harvest souls and actually bring them into their body. And then when they do that, they do receive the life of that soul, and it literally keeps a lot of these beings alive, just like the whole story of the vampires.
And it even gets more controversial. I'm not going to say it because we don't want to offend anyone. Go on the Steiger perspective, but there is a practice that we do today that does exactly what you said. It's sad because these are basically, they're blank templates.
Yes.
They're powerful in the fact that they're blank. It's kind of like, what are the cells that, stem cells. You can take and harvest those, and you can imprint upon them to be whatever. If you need a heart, you can grow a heart, a liver, a kidney. The same thing with souls.
We get stems from trees.
Yes, we do. Yeah. So there is so much going on here. And again, I like how it says that, you see, we become these souls. Once they become developed, they're powerful. They can actually overtake the spirit consciousness. That's why we struggle opening the third eye, beginning to get in touch with the higher self, to separate ourselves from the soul, because it's a possessive thing.
It's also too it's a tool and a key, because when you would give up, I think, like I said, this is all just from what I've learned on my own gnosis of diving into what is this. If you lose the soul, you would lose all of the consciousness and the memory of what you've learned. So
there again, you see, now that's an interesting point. Let's extrapolate from that, because it ties in perfectly. Because here again, the question is, and this is something I've seen in my meditative time, is, am I willing to walk away from myself?
Yeah. And that's what I was willing to do when I cut myself out of the serpent. I was willing to walk away from myself.
It's not that easy, Trina. It's not that easy.
No, and I was serious. I was really serious. I was like, if this is the truth of how to get free, show me the truth no matter what the cost. I don't care. I will lose it all.
Robert,
it was a shock in the spiritual realms when I did that. I felt the thunder of that. They were like, oh shit.
But most people don't feel that. And, that's the thing I want to help others to find. The book yesterday, someone asked what the title of the book was. It is Awakening the Third Eye. And by the way, I want to say hello to George Peterson, listening in for the first time. And Gaia is asking for healing energy. Surround her folks with it. On her right hand, the little finger, it's been sore, almost infected, as she said. So we will speak that away.
Cherry juice. I think it's gout.
Gaia, yeah, I know you and Paul. By the way, hello, moderators. So good to see you. We got right into the discussion, which is cool because this is a deep topic. But moderators, we love you. Lost in Space, David Castle with Rufus. And I did see Paul and Gaia. Bernadette, Scotty Boy, Monkey Experiment, how you doing? AK Maureen Star, Nina the Mystic's in the room. New Soul, the soul is the animation part. I love it. There's so many distant varied beliefs here. This is how we all grow. Hello, Suzanne. Much love. Eric, good to see you. There's Gaia. What else is happening? Energy Shifter. Love that name. You know.
I do.
Martin and Heidi, how are you doing? And they got Tony the dog. So, you know, if y'all send us the name of your pets, we try to remember them. Mary wins. Mary wins.
Hi, Mary.
I always like that. Wayne wins. I love that. Mary wins. Every time I hear that, Wayne wins. Mary wins. Truth Seeker, what's up? July. Hello, Red Honey 9. Much love to you. So, and Michelle. And Jenny, good to see you. So it gets deep here because you and I were talking. I believe that what we're sensing, and it doesn't surprise me in one sense, is a quickening has arrived on Earth. And there are references through esoteric studies, studies of the occult, studies of other cultures, when there have been in past times what they would call kind of a wave that would, I don't know if our Earth interacted with it as its position in the galaxy, but when these waves would hit, there seemed to be a quickening amongst not all humans, but amongst humans themselves.
Yes. Yes. You know how this is like human 2.0 or whatever we are. God only knows.
I don't know what we are. I don't think we know what we are.
I don't think we know. But I keep seeing the whole harvest thing and the ascension. I literally keep seeing that this is a way they're going to be trying to harvest souls again and put them into new bodies. And
my spirit guides are telling me that if we saw what was really this realm, if we really saw what was going on, we would go mad.
Yep, absolutely. So I always
we would go mad.
Be careful what you ask for. Don't want to see everything, because if you do, you get your wish. Game over. Go nuts.
There is so much going on, and thank you, by the way, for the tip on. I've been looking more into this, and there are many amongst us that are going to have many different gifts. Mine just, I don't know what caused it, but the fact that even to bend metal was an awesome experience.
Yes.
But there are others, as you were saying, that once you go ahead and tell the audience, because that's what we were talking about.
Okay. Folks. I've had the really awesome ability to meet some very powerful healers, and ironically, 2 of them were bikers, and they had extreme psychic abilities. One of them can hold a spoon, and literally the spoon will twist. Just the base is still, and he'll twist the entire spoon at the neck of the spoon and make the spoon literally twist like a corkscrew. And then of course it stays like that. I know another guy that can bend them. And I know another guy who I saw, he was able to create fire from his hands. And he literally, when he was a child, he burnt his house down. So yeah, he was a fire thrower. And again, that was a power of what you would experience as a quickening. It
Yeah,
would make the
that's what
molecules move so fast and it would
that's what
combust.
I saw. Actually, the
What happened?
molecules, the atoms, I saw them stacked up. It was weird.
Yep. Yep.
I saw them in perfect alignment, and it was like infinity, you know.
Yes.
It was
And like I
weird.
said, and I've seen people throw energy, and that's one of my abilities. Yeah, I've
You
had
see,
to
now
learn.
that's another point, because there has to be a quickening within all of us to begin to understand many we're many of one part. We're
Yes.
many, and this the trueness of this reality, again, we couldn't handle it if we really saw what it was. But you know what? Individually, each one of us can see a part of it.
Yes.
And if we could then begin to accept what that person is seeing, that's a gifting to them that all the rest of us can add to our gifting, our quickening.
Yes. Nothing's real until you feel it. So if you can't have the thought and be open to what it would be like to experience it, then those doors stay closed, because you have to be able to I imagine it first. So imagination. This is how we activate our magic, is using your vision.
You
And
know,
nothing's real till you feel it.
it's true. And that's the point of the book that we're studying. And I love what the clairvoyance organization is saying. You can study all the head knowledge you want, but if you've never personally experienced it, you don't have a belief. You have a knowledge. That's all it is.
And that's how it
Um,
is.
when I was in a younger man's clothes, I lived at a house. It was a church actually sponsored it, and there were a number of guys that lived in it. And it was it was an old house. It was a beautiful house. It was in the memorial area of Houston, Texas. But Ray, I'll never forget Ray. Ray was some 12 years older than I was. And he had the ability to literally see into the spirit realm. He could see the spirits. He
Yep.
could, many times within church, he would start. It was quite interesting. Living with the guy was even more bizarre, but he taught me something, that there is the ability, if you can open your mind, even to the possibility that we walk amongst the dead. And he kept saying, and this is why I don't believe that when people die that they're going off into the light. You know, it's just me. But what Ray was telling me, he said most that he said that he said it's so crowded.
Yes.
He says there are, the walking dead is everywhere. They're spirits.
Yep.
Many congregate together. Go ahead.
Spirits. I wonder if the soul is somewhere else.
Well, that's a good point, because his expression was, and there is a plethora of different types and kinds of spirits. He said, Wayne, they're not all like us.
No.
Sadly, Ray, I found out some 20 years later, committed suicide. A very devoted Christian, but he could not. He apparently could not handle it. As the older he grew, I guess from what I heard, the more intense it became.
Yeah.
Now, I often wonder, so what was Ray's, was this a gift, or was this merely a manifestation of a trapped spirit that got into a body that something went wrong?
I think he was just born with his vision not sealed. He was just born with sight. Many children are born with sight, but it closes. He has never closed. And without that closing, like you said, you go mad. When you
Yeah.
see all this shit all the time and nobody else can, it's hard. It's
The
hard.
thing that I found, and I've been talking to a wonderful, wonderful person, uh, helping her and doing some research on my experiences, again, using hallucinogenic drugs at the age that I was. And as I was telling her in an email, I said, the interesting thing was that, particularly with LSD, and there's a difference with mescaline and the rest, but I said, it opens your mind immediately to this alternate reality that coexist hand in hand right with us. And Robert, and on his show Saturday, the idea that reality could be like a multi-lane highway.
It
in our
is.
minds. Yeah, thank you. Go ahead, hon.
I see it like that. I literally see so many dimensions are stacked like within a millimeter of each other in
Yeah,
our right immediate space. And the only difference is the vibrational rate. So like, that's how I think we shift dimensions all day long, because when your emotions change, you will go into a different reality, but they all look so similar. So, and then there's the ones that don't look anything like this, the ones that are more of the spiritual and more of the the fourth dimension and the astral realms, and all of those
realms, and
are
that's
right
very
here.
interesting.
Yeah, and they're right here. It's just a matter of being able to tune in. It's like a radio dial. You tune into these different dimensional realms, and it's all right here though. It's all right here.
This is why I'm loving the book that we're reading from, of actually opening up this third eye. By the way, I want to play this. Someone wanted me to play the what it sounds like, Trina, the throat friction.
Yeah.
Yes. So here is what it sounds like. Can you hear that?
I can.
So I practiced this, Trina, last night.
Yeah.
And
One of my favorite breaths that I work with is they call it ocean breath.
okay.
And when you get into the rhythm, and it's like the drawing in of the nose would be like the retreating, and then the crashing of the wave would be the out breath. And when you get into a rhythm with this and you start to, it sounds like the ocean. So that's one of my favorite ways, is ocean breath, to get my breath to sound like the ocean. It's powerful.
Interesting.
Mhm.
And is it like the author said, there's many different techniques in this. And, if I can help contribute to awakening, I was practicing it last night and it was really interesting.
Your vibration.
Dancer immediately felt the shift.
Absolutely.
I mean, she just got up and it was really interesting because it was that same thing. And yeah,
It literally, it shifts your vibration.
it does. I felt it here in my chest. It was really interesting. Yeah, it was very pronounced.
It's opening up the magnets, and you've become a Torah of power at that moment, because when you connect to the breath, that directs life, because the air is spirit.
Yes.
It's
the rock.
Yeah, the spirit is the fire. The spirit is the transmuter, the spiritual part, that air part. That is it to me, it's the mechanism between the waters above and the waters below, is breath. It's the spiritual breath, and you can do it a million different ways. And like I said, it depends on what kind of energy you want to get into, is what kind of breath you want to work with. Like when I want to make fire, breathe heavy, open the fire channels. You can force and push and get it burning inside your body. And then when you want to work fascia and subtle energies, you're using the ocean breaths, the breath of, like with the throat, the stuff that you were doing. It's like those type of breaths open up the ebbs and flows of the different dimensions. And when you get into these different types of breathing, I think that's when you can grab the spiritual essence from different realms and anchor them into this realm through your antenna, which you dialed in through your breath.
It is the power of it. I mean, when I used to be with others where we would start praying in tongues, and, you know, and it's very interesting because it's probably where the idea of this, you know, this getting that vibration going, and it gets really intense. And to me, it feels like the same thing of kind of this washing that I have felt before. It's, you know, it's powerful. And, you know, we used to call it miracles, you know, because
Yes.
miracles would happen. You put someone in the center, which is an old witches tradition, by the way, but Christians claimed it. But when you have people holding the hands and they begin to do the invocation, even if it's speaking in tongues, and you have a person in the center of that, they're the recipient of amazing energy, power. We used to call it, you know, the Holy Spirit descending.
When you get groups of people together working with these types of frequencies, you will see miracles.
You will. I think we can do it. You know, it's
I know we can.
I have seen it as well. I mean, when I lived in the communes, I mean, we would do the same. We would do the fire dance, and it's where we would all join hands. And now we may have been in an altered state of consciousness, but I can tell you what, I've seen that fire grow to 30, 40 feet up in the air with no one adding any more fuel to it.
Wow.
And when the women and when the girl, I mean, in my case, you know, we were in, you know, late teenage years, powerful stuff. That's all I can tell you, particularly if you get into the nakedness and make yourself naked before the spirits. It's wow. I mean, yeah,
it is. That's powerful. You know, I saw that at school when I was at Southwest Institute of Healing Arts. One of my teachers, Dale and Nacho, and they were both Polarity practitioners and Reiki masters. And Dale, she passed away, but she was a powerful soul. Wow. So she ran the event at Sweehaw where they did the fire walking.
Okay.
And
Yep.
they laid out the coals and they did the fire walking. And I saw all these people running across that fire like it was nothing. And then Dale and Nacho took a 30-foot long piece of rebar steel and they connected it to their soft part of their throats. And they stood across from each other and they focused and they started toning.
They're using their larynx.
Yeah, they bent the steel.
Well, it validates the book we're reading.
Yes, they bent the steel with their throats and they would go into each other. 3 pounds of pressure to that part of your body can kill you. And Dale and Nacho would look at each other and they would go towards each other, defying the pressure of the steel and making it bend to their will through their frequency. Massively amazing stuff to see. This is magic. And this is, guys, we all can do this. It literally is a matter of focus and practice. That's all it is.
Well, I know there is a core group in here that is,
wow.
You know, Gaia, how you doing, hon? Seeing you that, speaking healing on you and Paul. You know, sometimes you can't have a serious conversation, but you know, it's amazing as adults when you use words like naked, that how it triggers responses in people. I mean, you know, to me, you know, it's like, you know, it shows why we don't belong here, because we're the only species here that, you know, we have to alter the environment to meet our bodies. We don't have hair on it anymore. We don't have the ability. Well, I guess if you practice, you know, where you could slow your heart down. Yeah.
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 Yeah. Yeah, I think it's part of the experience though, because, we get to dress our little characters. It's what makes us think we're separate because we're not. So,
Deborah Sloan, yes, they answer your question.
right.
Eric says, I love being naked. Well,
Yeah,
we all do. And if you
yeah,
don't lay hands on yourself every morning, I'm telling you, you're doing your body a disservice.
yeah. I've
I
been
got this. Go ahead, Ed.
talking to the water lately. I'm getting hearing that message again. You want to fix the world, you fix the water. Y'all are 86% plus of water. The earth is more 86% of, you want to fix the world, you fix the water. So every time you lay hands on yourself and lay hands on anything or think about healing anything, they're saying you want the quickest, fastest results, go to the water, because the water is what connects the spirit and the soul together. It's the glue.
It binds it.
Glue is the Holy Spirit, and the Holy Spirit's connection is the water, and the water can turn into multiple layers of levels of dimensions of form, from gaseous, aqueous, vapor, ice. It don't matter. It can change and become anything because it's conscious. It's consciousness. It's like the first primordial substance of God would be water.
What exists in space? I don't. Many of us here have been with Ben Davidson, with the observers, and star water.
Yes.
It's amazing that space is filled with water.
Water.
And you grow up through school and you're saying, well, no, it's only on planets. Well, no, actually, and it gets into that point. You know why we know that it's filled with water? Because here's the thing. How does a virus survive for, and scientists have been able to say, millions of years out there, and these high intensities of this as a vacuum of high radiation? Well, if there isn't a water source out there, how does a virus begin to exist?
Right.
Yeah.
It is. It's water. It's all about the water.
Mm-hmm.
I would complain, this world's so messed up, how do we fix it? And I would always hear the same thing. You want to fix the world, you fix the water. And that
An inside job.
Yeah, the water in you first. That's literally, you just nailed it. Yeah, the water.
By the way, it is a full moon tonight. I think it is the peak. So
yep.
If you got a little charging to do,
yes, that's right. Get those crystals out. It's moon in Cancer too.
Is that right? Okay.
Wolf moon, I think.
The wolf moon. Okay. And it's interesting because it is a little smaller. I mean, but it's setting beautifully in the west. I can just tell you, it's anyway, this reading
said that I saw a spirit. Whew. I was like, ooh.
It's it's getting active. I can tell you this. And I know it's interesting because, I see life in a total different way and than other people. And I only can read by people's comments, but I know what words, when a person types a word, you can pretty much identify. And it's something that I have to remember is that not everybody is effervescent in spirit as you and I are.
No. I knew that when I was a little girl and I couldn't tell people what I was seeing and what I was feeling. And that was hard. That was very
Someone says,
hard.
I thought the full moon was last night.
It might be.
Might be.
Yeah, you guys could be right.
But I wouldn't worry about it. It's still full.
The energy's 3 days before and 3 days after. So
just get yourself all right. That's the thing.
Yeah, definitely.
I love this. So we have not concluded on the fact that I think that, again, it's an interesting point when I see people writing in the chat room, the amazing different points of view of spirit, of soul, perceptions of what it's going to be. What I'd like to do is get everyone in a room and then put them up on stage and say, now I want you to tell us all, what are you expecting when you die, when you pass over, you do the transition? What are you expecting? And this is one of those questions that, for myself, reality is that, if I live another 7,000 days, let's say thereabouts, well, that's 20 years. And I have found that 20 years went like this.
Yep.
So the way I kind of figured is that, okay, I've really dug it out here. This has been a groovy trip. When I pass over, I'm just going to say thank you. But I have made, and it's interesting because I've gotten this point where I have to understand that I don't think me that I've created here, I'm not going to take it with me. I'm going to do probably the best thing I think any spirit being can do. I'm going to grant this life and say, go for it. Find yourself.
I think my destination, as far as I'm in my journey thus far, my destination is to find my star, my sun, my first spark out of the all, because that's, I think, what I really am. And whatever that means or whatever that feels like, if I need to let go of soul and leave the soul in this solar system to return to my home system, so be it. But I'm going to find myself. And I know that when I came to that conclusion, it shook the heavens. So I know there's something very powerful with that. So
Interesting.
I don't
Kathy
know if I'm
says,
going to lose anything. I don't know how it's going to go. But all I know is my destination is to find my source solar system, sun, star, because I am a sun. I've seen it. And I have my own universe. I've seen it. So I'm going to go there.
interesting. Kathy says, I expect to meet a tribunal of my guardians, guides, teachers, and ancestors. Very interesting. I like that. And see, that's very succinct. I mean, that tells me someone who's given that some thought.
Yeah.
Let's see. No one else really answers the question because, it's like, well, I don't know.
That's a hard question. I don't think many people think about what are you going to do when you die. They don't.
Someone
It's not
said,
a thing that most people think about.
I'm not as awake as you two. Hey, listen, we just been practicing longer. That's all. I just know, and I don't know how. Well, that's called intuition. Awake love.
Yes, I
And if
just
you
know,
can,
and I don't know how. That's beautiful.
that
Trust
if you
that.
focused in on that, you'll find
Trust that. Yeah.
you'll do just fine. It's
Absolutely. Yeah.
let's see, the tribunal. No, other people, and you see, and that's
They're
the
like,
thing.
no.
Well, some people get the idea, and listen, I was in that mind, that God spell, that there's a judgment. But folks, ask yourself this: what are you going to be judged on? If you're saying that you're going to be subservient to another being's definition of what good, bad, evil, whatever is, well, you're going to be in for a surprise, because I'll tell you this, and see if I'm not true. When you guys pass over, you're going to say that Steiger was right. But the only judgment you're going to face is yourself, because you're the only one qualified to judge you. And the master said, don't judge yourself. You know why? Because you become your own Satan.
That's right. You are the one that condemns you.
Exactly. You're the accuser of yourself.
Yep. That's why learning to love yourself.
Bingo.
To forgive yourself. And remember when I told you, Wayne, I had that intimate meeting with my own higher self. And when I asked my higher self, what is it that I need to know about you that I forgot to ask?
I love this. People are getting, what was that, hon?
The answer was a feeling. And the feeling was a love for me that part had for me. That was the most intense thing I'd ever felt, other than when I got taken over by the Holy Spirit. Nothing topped it ever in my life. So, wow.
See, I grew up in an environment where I had adults that were always condemning me.
Yeah.
beating the crap out of me more to it. But here's my point. So it took me decades because I was always my own worst accuser.
Yeah. Me too.
Wasn't anyone else. I could go to a prayer service. I could do whatever. I could never get over that. And the thing about it was, it induced a feeling of unworthiness. You know, the success that I obtained in life, I didn't feel worthy of it. Anything that when someone gave me a compliment, I would deflect it.
Yeah, I used to too.
Yes.
Too. I understand that a lot. Yeah.
When I came out of my coma, and I still had another 3 weeks in that isolation room, the hospital,
Mhm.
it came upon me that I saw myself. And I had to say I didn't like what I saw. And myself was like, but dude, I'm you.
Right. Right.
So, folks, I'm going to tell you, you can save yourself. And if you want to see your circumstances change, I'm telling you, a lot of us could get into a little soul searching. And man, love yourself.
Yeah.
Forgive yourself. If you've got something inside you that you did 20, 30, 40 years ago, or if you did yesterday, carrying guilt and condemnation is the most negative energy you can put into yourself. It will make you sick. It will make you soul sick.
And
So,
if you didn't have those signals, if you didn't have those responses, you could never learn the difference between good and evil. And
yeah,
we've come here to experience separation so we could test our own selves. This is a true test of self. To come into this realm is the ultimate test of self because you don't remember who you are.
yeah.
That's tough. So everything that you experience here, all of the pain, all of the suffering is going to be your greatest tools of learning because those feelings are markers. So whenever you go to another place, existence, lifetime, those cellular charges are now in your DNA codes. Those are in your Akashic records. So when you come into contact with these things, you'll get that feeling, intuition. The only way you have that intuition is because you already understand. You have been through it before. You understand what it feels like, and that keeps you safe. So you will make better choices. But you can't do that until you learn. We come here to get those charges, to understand these consequences of how things feel when you do things you wish you wouldn't have. So it's a gift, but it's a hard thing to take on, to take on.
So the moral of the story is there is no judgment. If you
No.
forgive yourself now, you know, it's going to be, I keep saying this because I keep seeing the glimpses of it. It's kind of wild and woolly over there.
Yes.
And let me tell you, I do believe that there are realities. You know, I come out of Christendom, and because that forms your perception of you don't have to deal with it anymore. You know, you can just simply put it in the closet. I've dealt with that eternity thing. So now I'm going to focus, you know, what I'm doing here. And there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, if that's where people are at, I say embrace it.
Absolutely.
But don't condemn those of us who say, listen, I respect that. I think that within every religion in the other realms, those realities exist. But for me, I would be an outsider. I would be the antivirus to their virus.
Yep.
And there's a lot of us, Trina. There's many of us. We are spirit beings that it's not that we're any better or any worse. It's just that we have seen a different perspective.
Or one of the things that makes me think a lot of who I am in this reality, in this lifetime, a lot of it comes from the trauma that I went through in Atlantis. And a lot of the things that I've had to heal in this lifetime, one of my greatest fears is to teach somebody something that wasn't correct, to realize later that I was wrong, because in Atlantis, we were tricked. And I was part of the scientists doing a lot of the work in that lifetime. So I was a priestess, which priestess and scientist was one and the same. You couldn't do one without the other. So all of the scientists in Atlantis were the highest level of the priest. So we were tricked by aliens. And this is coming again right now. And you know, in the Bible, it talks about how the preachers were thrown into the pit with their Bibles in their hands, saying, "But I told your word, and I shared your scripture, and I tithed, and I had the greatest church," and they were thrown into the pit. It's because they were tricked. And I've seen this theme over and over and over again on how we were tricked. And we're so upset because we couldn't see through the lie that we condemn our own selves to another incarnation to try to fix it, to try to make it right. So I somehow I've realized that that's been a cycle I've been in for a long time. And I'm not going to be in that cycle again if I choose not to. I will not be tricked and I will not be trapped. So with that, a part of all of this, that's why I have such an open mind, and I know I'm not right, and I don't want to be right, and I don't want to say that I know the truth, because I don't, because I know from thinking I knew so much before and understanding how utterly deceived we were by these things that we gave our power to and believed that they were smarter than we were. And we're getting ready to reproduce this again. So get ready, guys. The deception will be powerful.
Yikes. Hell of a place we live in, I'll tell you what. Well, in the meantime, I believe that knowledge is the first step. And, I have found that knowledge is neither good nor bad, evil nor good, righteous. It's knowledge. And
yes.
He just says, "See you tomorrow on Hump Day." Everybody, John, I appreciate that. Just send me an email.
Too, Wayne, I wouldn't have this knowledge if I hadn't suffered so much from being tricked. Like, it sticks with you. Like you always have that, "Oh, are you telling me the truth?" Because you know that you were deceived. So there's a wisdom in me from that now, like an inner intuition, a knowing. And it's very strong. And the stronger the inner knowing is the more, I guess, it hurt when you had to see the truth of what was really going on and realizing how deceived you were. And the deception only happened because you had no belief in your own power. You gave it away to criminals. So I just see
bottom line,
part.
Don't do that.
Right.
Don't do that. That gets you back in here. Learn how to bend forks. Learn how to generate fire. And that way, when you get over there, if it's battle, you're ready, baby. And I can just see some spirit trying to approach me. I'm going to say, "I'm going to twist your sorry ass just like the fork I twisted."
I blow things up.
Yeah. Don't mess with Mr. Bad. That's all I got to tell you. Ruth Ann says, "I burned my Bible.
Still waited. I'm blowing shit up. It's going to be fun."
The thing I'll tell you about the Bible, as I can see it's being brought up, that is it's a powerful, you can call it whatever magic you want, but it is some of the most powerful magic
I've never, well, there's been a couple, but that's one of the most powerful books I've ever put my hands on.
Yeah, I would say that
Potent.
if I was to ask the most powerful book I have read, it would be The Liber Lilith.
Yeah, and then next, The Keys of Solomon, right?
That would be, yeah.
Up
Well,
on the list,
the sixth and seventh book of Moses would be another one.
Yep.
But yeah,
The Nag Hammadi scriptures. Oh,
read
wow.
those.
Yeah.
But I didn't. With the Liber Lilith, I was entranced with her. I mean, the fact that I wrote every word of that book out, because it was the typeset and the type of English that was used. It becomes difficult. And when I wrote every word out, there was an interesting.
Oh, wow.
It was an interesting saturation. I'll just put it that way.
Yeah, I heard an unlocking, a big unlocking of wisdom.
Her energy.
Yeah.
All I can tell people is approach with caution.
Yeah.
All I can tell you. I had someone write me and say that said, I want to invoke Lilith. Could you please send me the book? And I said, no, I'm not going to send you the book. I said, you can get it yourself. I said, but let me just warn you right now. I said, she will make, and I that's what I told him. I said, she will trounce her energy will just tear you apart. Yes. You're not ready to really invoke that spirit energy. And I don't know what the young man did.
Wayne, I've only seen her a couple times, and both times she was in a magic circle to where I knew she couldn't get out, and I was grateful for that. And I stayed outside of it. Yeah, and I had a sweet conversation with her, but very respectful. But yes, one of the most powerful beings I've ever seen in my life.
Lynn and I don't sleep in the same bedroom.
Yeah.
And that's been, wow, it's been almost 5 years.
Yeah, I think of her and it makes my voice shake. She's so powerful. Whoa.
Yeah. I had a friend of mine said if she is on the earth Lilith, it's bad news. She's always been here.
Always. She's part of the earth because she's part of our solar system. She is Black Moon Lilith, which is a black hole in our universe. She is a magnetic cleaning force of darkness. She's the ultimate cleaning tool. If you want to clean up dark energy, she's your girl. Yeah, she's your girl.
Yeah, she's your girl. I'm going to tell you what.
No, it's her power.
And folks, you just have to go back and review that. I mean, listen, the woman was raped. The spirit, the essence of earth itself was raped. Yes. I mean, come on. I mean,
she is the absolute shadow of Sophia.
Yes, she is.
That's her. She is Sophia. She's the inverted shadow of Sophia. She is the goddess creator. She's part of it. It's a fractal of our mother. That's Lilith. She's so beautiful, but she's been harmed by this experience. She is harmed. She needs healing.
Yeah, she does. Yeah.
But her power, her magnetic power, is unlike anything I've ever seen in my life. Ever.
I'll tell you what happens when she kisses you. But anyway,
I've never been kissed. Wait, oh God, no, it scared me.
It took me, and Lynn was, put blankets around me. It took a couple of hours just to get the warmth back into my body. I mean,
I bet.
Man, all right, Trina, another hour come and gone, and this has just been far out. Just being gone, man. So are you what's your schedule these days? I know you have been really busy. Are you going to be on?
I have been. It has been, and there's been so much, a wave of death as to the likes I've never seen. I lost 2 more yesterday.
Did you really?
I've never seen anything like this.
It's a real exiting.
A real big one. Really big. So yeah, it's been a lot of work, kind of holding the people around me together right now. So
it's draining.
Yeah,
it is.
Yeah. But it's been a lot.
Sending you lots of. I just see this big old, big old dump truck coming up, and it's just the love and the strength we're just dumping on you, baby.
Thank you so much.
We just dumping on you. That's all we're gonna do. It's just
Oh,
it, just dumping all that love and that it's kind of like eating a chocolate chip cookie that comes right out of the oven.
yes.
It's
Thank you
only had
so
about
much.
2 minutes just to barely get cooled off, and you bite into it, and it's that chocolate that just melts in your mouth. That's what I'm talking. That's the type of energy I'm talking,
I
Trina.
love it. Thank you. Thank you.
I
Thank you.
mean, can't you
Oh,
smell the chocolate chip cookies?
yes,
Mhm.
I can. I can taste it. It's making my mouth
Yeah.
water.
Just melting in your mouth, baby. All
Yes.
right, everybody. Thank you, all of you moderators and all the Soul Tribe and all the rest. Thank you for hitting the like button. I see 88, which is again,
Wow.
those prime numbers coming
That's
up.
my number. That's the number I graduated high school.
Tony and Martin and Heidi say we love y'all too.
Love you too.
Tony is very naughty, always getting in. That's why Tony's here, I guess,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hi.
Well, we just give love to all the pets, all of them. Cody right there, and
Yeah.
of course everyone else. So, all right, everyone, we'll see you tomorrow. Have yourself a fantastic rest of the day. We thank you. We love you. And we will see you later on. Bye-bye, everyone.